Today we talk about the all-important game between South Africa and the Netherlands. Yes, South Africa has won 2 of their games and Netherlands are yet to open their account. But what we see here is an all-important game that happened yesterday, and how Kushal Mendes and Nisanka Pereira, that what you see on your screen right now is a wagon wheel, and an important match that we saw yesterday had an interesting twist, but we show you where the bowling was done, how the delivery was made, and how Adam Zampa created havoc yesterday. Mitchell Marsh wasn't bad enough. He did a great thing by putting on an impressive show yesterday, and so did Labuschagne. So it was an interesting victory for Australia, and now we have to wait for the other match. Of course, this what you see on your screen right now is a heat map of the players and also of how they performed on that particular day. However, we are joined by 2 of the eminent guests right now. I'll go on to my friend in the studio and a colleague who's been holding on, looking at this particular thought in the last few days. Tasmin, let's look about the screen right now, and you want to discuss about how it happened yesterday, the entire show. Can you take our viewers through?
Oh yes, definitely. I think a great outing by Australia. They finally managed to pick it up in the field where they've been messing up. A great chance for them touching up their fielding, as well as their seamers being able to actually pitch up the ball yesterday and cause a bit of trouble.
Right.
So I think for me, it's a good outing from them all around. Obviously, a nice bit of a try up front from the 2 Sri Lankan openers. They had it going for them, but Sri Lanka's middle order actually collapsing yesterday, which is something we haven't seen thus far in the tournament. They've been pretty well supported by their middle order in their batting. But nevertheless, take nothing away from the Australian bowlers. Well bowled from Pat Cummins as well as Adam Zampa yesterday. It's good to see Zampa coming back out, but we did see him hobble off the field with a bit of a niggle as well yesterday. So sure, that brings a bit of questioning how he's going to be for the next games coming up as well. But Pat Cummins back in the money again, as well as Mitchell Starc.
Well, do you think the Australians have finally arrived to the party at the World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're showing the class. They're showing what it is to be a World Cup winning squad that they've been over the past couple of years in different formats of this as well. So I think it does show you that the big match temperament is there. They were just waiting for the gears to shift and things to change.
Well, it's important that we need to know this, how things have happened today. We'll also talk about the upcoming match today. What are your views and what are your understanding of the match?
Definitely a big game today. South Africa want to assert dominance as they've done thus far. They've played 2 matches and won both so far. Not taking Netherlands for granted, because we have seen what the newer teams in this tournament can do. Obviously, Afghan bringing up the best upset of the tournament so far. So I don't think they will come into it underestimating the Netherlands, but definitely hitting with a bit of caution, but still showing dominance.
Well, we now go to Nono Pongolo, the former South African league cricketer and a commentator, who's a well-known voice and a name in South Africa, who talks about the game very detailed. Nono, if you can hear us, can you hear us? PCR, can we good to go? The South African team has started playing really well. This is contrary to how the build-up was for the qualification. What do you think has changed? Is it the mental, is it the technique, or is it a combination of both, Nono?
The South African team has started really well, contrary to the qualifiers, qualification of this particular World Cup. I think it stems from a completely different coach, which was under Mark Boucher, where the team just managed to qualify for the World Cup. And I think since the new coach, Rob Walter, has come in, I think they've worked really hard in their blueprint, how they're looking to play the one-day game. And I think it's taken them some time to figure out how they wanted to play. And I think it's very clear for everyone that the Proteas are different in their approach, especially in the power play, where they tend to, they're not as aggressive as the other teams are in the power play. They look to keep their wickets, build a partnership with Temba and Quinton de Kock, building for the middle overs. So you do get to see that contrasting style compared to other sides in the world.
Well, no, one interesting part, you've been a part of the dressing room and played various club matches and international with the international cricketers. South Africa has suddenly started playing the modern day cricket. which is chasing without losing wicket or just throwing caution to the wind. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, South Africa's playing style, you might say, is different to everyone else. They tend to be the team that looks to preserve their wickets, especially in the power play, like I said earlier.
Right.
I think what they look to do is to build gradually throughout the innings, especially from 11 to 20, which is generally where Themba Bavuma, Quentin de Kock, if they do lose a wicket, Rassie van der Dussen will operate the most. So not too aggressive in the power play. But the important part about South Africa is they like to have a lot of big partnerships up front. Quentin de Kock, Themba Bavuma, Rassie van der Dussen, Aiden Markram as well, and then to allow David Miller and Heinrich Klaasen to come in later and tee off like they've done in recent times.
Well, once you look at the table standing right now, does the semi-final berth look a real possibility?
Does a semi-final berth look possible for the Proteas? I think the quick answer is yes, but I'll also break it down and say I think this game against the Netherlands I think is the most important game for South Africa. I did, in my predictions, think that they could win 3 out of 3 up front, but once they've done the first 3, I think the next 3 I think are a very important game for South Africa. They've got England, they've got Pakistan, they've also got Bangladesh. If they can manage to win 2 out of the next 3, I think they would have put themselves in a really strong position to qualify for those semi-final positions. But again, I think the most important game is the Netherlands game for South Africa, because South Africa at the end of the day still have a lot of history against the Netherlands. Who can forget what happened in the T20 World Cup in Australia just I think a year or so ago, and South Africa will be looking to get that right first.
Right. No, what can we expect in today's match? The best bowlers, the batter, the bowler from Proteas, your views?
I think South Africa had a fantastic game against Australia, and probably the best performance in the last couple of months we've seen from the South African side. It was a really strong batting performance, really good platform set by Themba and Quentin de Kock, laid it up for the middle order to really get South Africa to 300 plus against that Australia bowling attack. A lot of people thought it was a really good score. And today I think will be about repeating that performance. The batting unit again coming to the fold, I think will be really crucial. And again, I think a lot of people were concerned in terms of how the South African bowling attack was going to be, especially that they lost the likes of Sisanda Magala, Heinrich Nokia. So what we saw from the likes of Lungisani Ngidi, Kagiso Rabada, and of course the spinner as well, Keshav Maharaj, were very, very good for South Africa in that particular game. So South Africa, and especially South African coaches, I think they'll be looking for a repeat performance. I don't think they'll be looking to take any chances again against Netherlands. Most likely it's going to be the same team. And again, be looking for same performance. And guys, hopefully other guys can also chip in with some really strong performances.
No, thank you for your views and insights on before the all-important match today that we have between the Netherlands and South Africa. Remember, in T20 World Cup, Netherlands actually threw South Africa's hope out of the semi-final by giving them a shocker defeat by 12 or 13 runs. Tasmin, do you remember that game? How Netherlands is a gritty customer. You can't take them lightly, especially with their running between the wickets, their fielding, their high voltage infield drama in that, Tasmin. And then I'll go on to Naledi, who's joined all the way from South Africa, who wants to talk about South African cricket. First, Tasmin.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said at the start, Netherlands is one of those tough customers that come to the show. They definitely have the spark of bringing something that's different to the show as well. I think for them, the big thing right now you need to look at is I'm very interested in the current contest that's going on between Kagiso Rabada at the start, opening up for South Africa, versus Vikramjit Singh, who's currently on 808 runs just in 25 matches. He's doing good for the Netherlands thus far, not to mention Bas de Leed, who's the current leading scorer for the Netherlands at this current moment. He's got a 65 under his belt versus Pakistan, as well as he's taken 5 wickets so far in the World Cup tournament. So definitely they have a squad that's been performing in form. They have the experience of Roelof van der der Merwe as well, down the bowling order as well as on the batting order. So it's a good recipe for the Netherlands.
Let's talk a little bit about Van der Merwe. The guy, he's certainly an unsung hero of the entire team. He goes under the radar, he bowls one of the tightest length and delivery stride that you could think of, contains the runs and then takes on some of the best wickets. What are your views on Van der Merwe?
Yeah, I think he's one of those most experienced guys for them in the squad actually, and he is one of the unsung heroes for Netherlands, definitely. You see him out on the boundary, you see him taking brilliant catches. Never will I forget the stunning catch he took last World Cup, diving to the side.
Exactly.
As well as, he, like you said, he comes in and he has the ability to bowl tight lines. He may not take wickets, but he's definitely that guy that will come and control the run rate that's going, dry up the runs, as well as create the pressure for everybody else in the team to come around him and just take wickets.
Well, that was an interesting observation that you made. I'll go on to my new guest in the studio who's just come from Cape Town, South Africa, a podcaster and a well-known name on radio. Naledi, welcome to the show. Just an important insight that you want to share about today's match. What do you think will go positive for South Africa today if they were to win the match?
Thank you so much for having me. Feels good to be here. First of all, I must say that I'm speaking for all South Africans when I say that it's definitely not going to be an easy match. You just mentioned that this is a team that has knocked us out of the semi-finals of last year's T20 World Cup. However, the ODI is a different ball game. So it is definitely going to be an interesting one considering the records that South Africa have broken so far, looking at the likes of Quinton de Kock scoring back-to-back centuries and also just making sure that he bows out of the World Cup in style. This is his last World Cup. He has mentioned that. And also looking at Kagiso Rabade's stats, looking very good. If he does start today's game, Personally, I think that he should be rested, and I'll give you a reason just now.
Yeah.
But if he does start and if he does get that one wicket that is short of to make it 150 ODI wickets, then he stands a very good chance of being one of the 4 South Africans who have topped that mark. Now, back to the reason why I'm saying that he should be rested. I feel like there's players who also need to get some minutes on the field, the likes of Lizard Williams, who were initially not selected to be part of the squad. However, now coming in, considering the injuries to the 2 key players that we are missing in the squad, I think they will need to have some time out on the field to prove that they deserve to be here, and that, you know, the players, the likes of Sisanda, whom was replaced by one of the 2 guys, Andile Pahlekwayo, as well as Wizard Williams as well. They need to prove it to them that we are here and we can do the job that you were initially sent out to do. So I think South Africa really have quite an easy one at hand, if I can put it like that.
Well, easy one, considering that they've played really well in the opening 2 games. But what about Netherlands? Tasmin, can you talk about the strengths that the Netherlands has, and let's do a comparison between the 2 teams when we were to look at it.
Yeah, definitely. So the Netherlands are nobody to just look down upon. We know that they've been going quite well in this campaign, that they do try out, they do come out and they do things. They have the ability to strike early up front, as well as they have the spinners at hand to be able to try and contain the run rate and control the game. I think in terms of batting, South Africa will want to go out there. We've seen Quinton de Kock assert dominance early up in the innings. He's not there to stick around. He's not there to play and tell a long story. He's there to put on a show and give us a good one. Like, I'm going to back up Naledi on this one. He is coming here to have the time of his life, the outing of his life. Do remember that this is his last World Cup. So he's here to make the most of it, as well as take his team all the way through to the end. Back on the bowling side as well, we have people like Lungi Ngidi in the South African bowling order that have been bowling extremely well, setting South Africa up early up front as well in the overs. We know that he's got the ability to swing the ball, not leaving out the fact that he's got the height as well that gives you the dip of projection. South Africa has a depth when it comes to their batting. They bat all the way down to number 7 as well. So it's a big deal for them, not leaving out guys like Keshav Maharaj as well as Shamsi on the bottom that have the ability to turn the ball as well and cause a bit of trouble.
Well, what about the last question before we wrap up this show? What's your money? Where's your money on? Which team are you backing today, Tasneem?
I think you definitely outnumbered in the studio today, and I think it's 2 of us on the side of South Africa today.
Well, that's all we had time for. it's clear that the South Africa is your clear favourite, but we have to see how Netherlands turn it around. The guys have the grit, the determination, and they have the eel-like electricity when they walk on the field.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.